Hello, my loves. How are you this week? I was just in this midst of feeling so inspired and so on fire and on top of the world. And then it was like a crash, boom, bash of like self doubt and all of that shenanigans. So today's podcast is going to be another podcast from my halt in my lovely accent of keeping inspired when we can, and then just riding those freaking waves, the waves of all of the things. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. Please share this. And if you haven't already, or if you want to again, head over to iTunes and leave Awaken You with Shelly Bond a 5-star rating and a review. It means the universe to me. I love you. Hi, I'm Shelly. Welcome to my show. One of my many roles is a mama, a wife, a house manager, a yoga teacher, an intuitive healer, a spiritual practitioner, and a writer. As many of us can resonate with, we wear so many hats throughout the day. On this podcast, here is the space I've created for women to help us grow and help us to awaken to what really matters, to tune into ourselves, flaws and all, to embrace that healing is a journey. It is not the end point. I'm here to hold space, to share my ugly truths in hopes to invite you to awaken to yours. I want you to know that you are not alone. I am right here walking this path with you. Oh, the waves. Life is so ever changing. Isn't it so interesting that we are not the same woman that we woke up to this morning? Even though you would think, well, I'm in the same body, maybe same hair, maybe got a haircut, colored your hair. We're not the same. I had a monstrous, crappy day yesterday. My kids actually had a snow day. And I usually wake up early and do my morning practice. But I went to South Dakota this weekend with my sister to visit these two lovely little girlies who are currently in foster care. And Jenny and I woke up at 4 a.m. on Friday morning. And it was a lovely trip, but it was mentally, emotionally, spiritually exhausting. And it was kind of filled with sadness and frustration and then lovely light moments. And we called it the trip of farts. It was like lots of farts. Everyone kept farting and laughing. And it was funny because farts are funny. They're always funny. But I never caught up on my sleep. I didn't catch up on my sleep. And waking up at 4, it was just like I just had this little lingering headache for like the whole time I was there. So yesterday, I was like, you know what? I'm turning my alarm off. The kids have a snow day. Woohoo. So I'm sleeping in. And I think Junie came in at like 8:01. And it was just one of those days that just, the kids were already up. They already had trashed the house. And I could just feel this low grade headache. And I just off and on felt this weird, like vertigo, dizzy feeling all day. I kept feeling like I was in like an alternate universe. And part of me thinks, I think my soul was maybe like suctioning off of my body. And I was like, come back, come back. And I was just in a cranky mood. I was cranky. My big kids, they're not so big, but they're pretty big. Milo and Junie they've just been so snazzy and having these like really crappy attitudes and yelling at me and telling me that they're not doing things. And I just kind of snapped. I have been doing that lately. I've been just like not tolerating. And I don't know if it's snapping, but it's like, no, thank you. I'm your mom and I am creating these healthy boundaries and you will do what I say, whether or not you want to or not. Like something as simple as cleaning the kitchen. It's like you're asking them to jump off of the roof, even though Milo would love that. So not equivalent to that, like step on glass. It was like, come on, like really doing your dishes, making your bed, and cleaning your room is so awful. And the world's worst mom. And I just was like not in a good vibration yesterday because I kept wanting to practice yoga, but I was feeling this like incredible dizziness. It was like if I moved my head too quick to one side or the other side, I was like, what is happening? Wow, I'm in a fun house. And I've off and on I haven't really shared it with many people, experienced over the past couple months. If I put my head back in a very specific way, the whole room spins and it feels awful. And I have to quickly roll to a side and curl up in the fetal position and just stay there until the room settles. So I just know. And a few years ago, I experienced this similar thing. So I just know my body and I'm taking care of it. But I didn't do anything for myself yesterday. It was like kids, groceries, snow day, messes, laundry, yelling at kids. And my boys actually, luckily, we have lovely neighbors. Went over and played with a neighbor for a couple hours. Still, even though with them gone, you think it would have like calmed down my energy. Mine and Junie's energy was just like clashing, and it was like so intense. And she's being just like this little, like, I hate to stereotype, and the word hate, I omit that. I love. She just keeps acting like that stereotypical 13-year-old teenager who's just rude to her mom and has this terrible life. And it's so sad because, like I told you, my sister and I, Jenny, went to go visit these two girls who got put in foster care. They got put in foster care 6 months ago, and they were family friends of ours and no longer really friends with their parents. We never really were friends with their parents. They were just alcoholics and really treated the girls really bad, especially the stepmom. Like, it's truly one of those stories of like the evil stepmother who's like jealous of the daughters, and it was really sad and dysfunctional. And now they're in the foster system. And because my sisters and I live in Colorado, it's so strange. And like one of my sisters, Amy, would love to adopt one of them or both of them. And it's like, there's nothing we can do about it. And it's so frustrating. And when Junie was just like, being so mad about everything and being such a stinker, it's like, you have such a good life. You have such good parents. And even me on my worst day, like, what? You are blah. And I'm not like in space where I'm trying to guilt her, but yesterday I totally did. She was being so rude and I snapped, and I just hold space for this, and I totally shamed her. I said I would never say again. I said, you should be ashamed of yourself, the way that you're acting. You're being so disrespectful. And I totally shamed her. And this morning I woke up at my alarm at 6:01, and I could immediately feel like a shift in my energy. And it was like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better today. It was like yesterday I had this like negative energy cloud sucking onto me, this like negative entity attachment or something. I was not in a good vibration yesterday, and this morning I could feel it. And I woke up and I got my water, and I could just tell, I'm like, this is a better day today. And I sat on my yoga mat, and luckily I had like 10 minutes without any kids that were awake, because for me, I really like that quiet. And I really have to embrace that Jack, he's always just been an early riser, which I'm grateful, because it's like, practice what you preach, Shelly. Like, let him wake up and do things for himself. But I sat on my mat, and I unrolled my mat. I drank my water with the fireplace on and mostly dark with dim lights. And I did my gratitude practice and said everything I was grateful for. And then I just put my hands on my heart and I just said, I forgive you. And then I felt bad. I felt bad for being like a shitty, bitchy mom yesterday. And I held space for that. And I said, I forgive you. And I just sat for like, as long, I think it was like 10 minutes, just like, I forgive you, Shelly. I forgive you, Junie. And I just put like the energy and the vibration of forgiveness out. And it was like painful and it hurt. And again, those like feelings of badness were just there. And I just allowed them to come up. And I allowed forgiveness. And I allowed so much forgiveness. And then I just sat and I surrendered. And I asked for guidance in the forms of signs or whatever the universe intended. And then Jack woke up and was like clinking around, and I'm trying to sit there and just be open. And then I did my yoga practice, and I actually moved my body in ways that felt good for me. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm just so grateful for this steadfast practice that I've had, because I don't think in my whole life I've had something as grounding and as I don't know if trustworthy is the word, but just something that I can show up for. It shows up for me, and I show up even when I have a crap day, or maybe even I think there's been times where I didn't practice for a week or two, but I can still come back to it because it's not as much that it's the practice of yoga that I'm showing up for. It's the practice of myself. It's the practice of showing up for my mind, my body, my emotions. What have you been experiencing? Have you had any of those moments where you're like, why did I do that? I held space for you. I hope that you can give yourself permission to hold space for you and hold space for those ugly moments where maybe you weren't your best self, and to just know that we are human, and human emotions, they come and they ebb and flow, and sometimes they explode, and sometimes we're not proud of the way that we acted. And I feel like what's so important is to acknowledge that, to forgive ourselves, to forgive those who have harmed us, and know that when you forgive other people, it doesn't excuse what they've done. It doesn't make anything right. It doesn't discount your experience, but what it does is it heals you on this emotional, this heart, this spiritual level. And then it's so important because with my daughter, I'm going to live with her forever. She's my daughter always. And I know I've had people that I do a forgiveness practice for, and then I don't talk to them. I don't ask them permission for forgiveness. I just do that. But with my daughter, who I live with every day, and my husband and my boys, I have made such a positive, a healthy habit about talking to them and then apologizing. I actually got the new Louise Hay, the 365-day little tear off calendar, which is so lovely. I love Louise Hay. Thank you. It was funny because at the first week, it's 2 weeks we didn't have it this year. And I was like, Junie, I don't know if I want to get that calendar this year because I just feel so wasteful because it's one page every day. It's this like tiny page, but it's like, the date, and it's an inspiring picture and an inspiring quote. And Junie and I both just felt lost without it. And I finally caved in. I was like, okay, I really need this back in my life. And we actually got it when I got back from my South Dakota trip on Sunday evening. And I was so grateful, and I opened it. And yesterday's calendar inspiration was something along the lines of, I no longer say sorry, that I'm done with sorries, and I only offer a sorry when it's sincere and I really mean it. And I really, really mean it. And there's so many minutes. I say there's so many minutes and that we say sorry. There's so many times I say no more sorry. Sorry, no, sorry. If you're really sorry, yeah, then embrace that and say sorry and that. But there's so many people that I hear, including some of my soul sisters and their kids, that are like, oh, sorry, sorry, sorry. Oh, I bumped into you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I actually found myself doing it yesterday. I went to this Safeway drive up and go to pick up my groceries, and it was a snow day for the kids, so you can't see any of the parking spots. And there was a car parked in spot 2, and I go to park in spot 1, and there's a car like on the other side of it, so it's pretty small. And I'm like, I think I can make it. And I squeak in there, and this guy comes to the left of me, and he's in this little car, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm like super close to him. Like, there's no way he's going to get in his car. And I'm like looking, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. It's probably fine. It's fine. It's fine. And finally he comes around, and I'm like, oh, I need to say something. So I open my door and I look out and say, oh, I'm so sorry I parked so close to you. Do you want me to move? And he said, no, I think I can squeeze in. And I said, are you sure you can squeeze in? He said, yeah, I'm good. Thanks. And so, but I guess in that moment, I was sorry. I was sorry that, oh shoot, I was not really thoughtful of this guy next to me. So I guess I really did mean that. And then I caught myself a few other times where I was about to say sorry, like, oh, sorry that I blah, blah, blah. And then I stopped myself and I was like, no, just own what you're doing and who you are. And again, so this morning when Junie woke up and I was on my yoga mat, it was like, she woke up really, not really early, but she usually wakes up at like 7 because she had her homeschool enrichment today. But she woke up at like 6:35. I could hear her wrestling around and came out at about 6:40. And she came out and was just being so sweet. And I apologized. And I said, I'm sorry for being a really bad, cranky, I said bitch mom because she's 13. Because I was. And she said, well, Mom, that just means a female dog. And I was like, well, sometimes female dogs can be really nice. And I wasn't really being really nice yesterday. And I told her all the things. I felt like I was having this really just like negative energy. And she was like, I can tell you were having a really bad day. And I could already feel that you're feeling much better today, Mama. Thanks for coming back. And I was like, ah. So again, really just embracing those authentic sorries and letting go of the need to always say sorry, because you do not need to be sorry for existing, because who you are is amazing and wonderful, and you don't need to doubt yourself all of the time in what you're doing, because that's what sorries are. Sorries are self-doubt at the utmost. And it's just a programming. It's like with anything. The subconscious mind has programmed itself to always say, sorry, 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 because I can't take up space. Sorry, 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 because what I say doesn't matter. Sorry, 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 whatever the subconscious low vibrational feeling or thought is around that, that really acknowledge yourself and who you are and own yourself. And if you accidentally bump into someone at the store, instead of sorry, it's, oh, excuse me, I didn't see you there. Like, and maybe you are sorry, really sorry, but are you really, really sorry? I think that those real sorries, I feel like I've said sorry about 70,000 times right now, are meant for those real moments when you intend to do somebody harm. Like yesterday, I was like, intentionally being a crust. And then I like come back to it. And also Junie has just been being so awful. And I tell her, she's not always awful, because she can be equally lovely. So let's like omit the always, because she's not. But it was on, what was it? Monday was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And they had it off of school, and they needed to go clean up dog poop. I'm like, today's like a storytelling day. It's the storytelling day, sister. And oh, this is what happened. Somebody turned our outside water spigot on and flooded our freaking backyard. And there was like an ice skating rink that our yard is in like an L shape, from the back of the small shape on the L to long all the way down. Well, long story short, Rex had a freaking crazy meltdown because he was freaking out that we damaged the foundation of the house and the spigot, and it was not good. And then he freaked out, and I was like, Rex, calm down. And he was enraged, being like so crazy, which I get. Like, we're finishing our basement and we've had to like stop, and then he's like thinking all the money that we were putting back into the basement is going to go blah blah blah, and we're outside and the kids are supposed to clean up dog poop, and Junie is like, no, I'm not cleaning up dog poop. And I'm like, excuse me? And my sister Jenny was telling me that when her kids do stuff like that, she goes, okay, are you challenging me? And so I thought of that, and I was like, so are you challenging me right now, Junie? And she was like, I am not. And so I literally just grabbed her by the back of her jacket, because she's trying to run away. And I was like, you're going to stay out here and you're going to clean up the dog poop. And she tried to like pull away from me. And it was this whole dramatic thing of me like grabbing her jacket. And then I literally just like pulled her towards me, which was towards the fence. And I was like, Junie, you're staying out here, and you now are cleaning up the dog poop all by yourself. And she was like, no, I'm not. You're a child abuser. You're beating me. And it was like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm beating you right now because I grabbed your jacket because you were trying to run away from me and tell me that you're not doing something. I'm pretty sure that that's not beating you. And then I freaked out, and my energy was like, so holy moly. That was like, there's been some dramatic and heightened energy in my house. It's been like kind of insane. Like, what is happening in the world right now? I don't know. I'm sure there's some weird planetary shift, but in my house and within myself, I have been experiencing some crazy business. And that day, I was like, okay, boys, you're inside. Junie's cleaning up the poop. We have 3 dogs. There's a lot of poop. There's like so much poop. But unfortunately, it's like halfway frozen in the snow and the ice. And then there's this ice outside that everyone's slipping on because Jack, or whoever, Jack says he didn't do it, but who else would turn on the water spigot? And we have like an ice skating rink in our backyard. It was actually really pretty if you looked at it, but It wasn't very, it wasn't a very happy moment. I feel like we are having a messy week. There's some messy, gross energy. And so Junie was like, I'm not cleaning up the poop. And she kept yelling and telling me like all of these horrible things. I'm like, you know what? You're staying outside. And I locked the doors. I was like, you're being locked outside until you clean up the dog poop, Junie. That's what you're doing. And oh my gosh, the dramatics, the melodramatics. Do you remember being 13? When you were 13, was it like everyone is so stupid and no one knows anything and you know everything and your mom is the worst person ever, right? Even though it's like, I'm like the best person who's so kind ever. I know who I really am. And Junie does too. And so she kept like coming and banging on the doors. And she does this thing where she cries so much. And then she like has braces. So she has all this spit and saliva just like drooling and shooting everywhere. And I'm like, no. And then Rex is like, she's going to break the door. She's going to break the door. I'm like, oh my gosh, universe. Like, what is happening? What's happening? Okay, so this is like all of the crazy days. Finally, she cleans up the poop, all the things. But then I like continue that day too. I was shaming her. I was like, I cannot believe the way that you're acting. Like, what is happening? I'm pretty sure I said that you should be ashamed of yourself, which I need to stop saying that because I've heard my sister say it. And every time I hear her say it, it makes me cringe up. And then it's like, the programming comes back from when I was a kid and being shamed on and guilted on. And yikes. So, my soul sisters, if you are a mom, I feel like many of us are, or not, that whether it's with your kids or your spouse, there is this, I feel like, underlying need to guilt and to shame. And right, it is subconscious. So it is this programming that keeps coming up, especially in painful and really trying times. And so it's so important that whether we can't notice or can notice in the moment or after. I'm really good at noticing after and like reflecting. And so it makes such sense why I had such a crap low energy day the day after. The universe brings back what we put out. It makes so much sense. It's so challenging. Oh, and then Milo's been like just like off and on awesome, and then just like so rude and just such a little snarf. And he's only 10 and he's like almost as tall as me, and it's like, wow, like I have to ground my energy because I'm going to be these kids' mom forever. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the best I can, even on those crap days. And I'm going to just show up. And I'm going to show up. And this morning, so I did show up. And I did have this like huge burst of inspiration this morning. I was like feeling so inspired. I was actually so inspired to create my podcast. But then I'm like, no, I'm going to create my yoga classes. And I did. I created 3 yoga classes. I started my Awaken You courses for my website. I bought my domain name, shellybond.com, which it's not like up and running yet. I signed up through Wix. I did that. And I actually was like so excited and inspired because I watched one of my favorites not podcasters, on YouTube. His name is Mark, I think, Bajerski, and he's like such an amazing like intuitive, and he's like a crystal guy and a Reiki energy guy, and I saw that he had this podcast and it was recorded, and I'm like, oh, that would be so cool to have like the video recording. And so I like get on, I don't know, the internet, and I'm researching, and I look up, it's something from like, let's see if I can find it, from like iHeartRadio. Let's see, what's it called? Maybe someone knows about this. And it's called Speaker from iHeartRadio. And I'm like, oh, perfect. It says like I can record videos. And I was like getting all psyched up to record this on video because I want to start having my podcasts available on video because it's kind of fun. And it's like fun. I actually like when I record myself because it's like I'm talking to myself and then I see that I'm like speaking to you guys. But in my mind, I can just imagine you too. Long story short, I sign up for it. I pay the however $8 a month, and then I go to do it, and it's only allowing me to record audio. I'm like, ugh, so annoying. Bah. And it's so crazy how you can just go from this like full speed, inspired and like taking action. And then it's really easy. I notice myself getting thwarted when stuff like that happens. I'm like, okay, so just blah, 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 pause. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let this ruin my day because this is my only kid-free day. And this is my work day that's like full on record, get your business done. Like I didn't even do the dishes this morning. I actually was getting annoyed at this. So I paused and unloaded like 3/4 of the dishwasher, fitting that stuff in when you can. And I'm like, okay, fine. That didn't work out. I'm going to figure it out later when I have all of my kids and it's noisy and messy, and that's fine. And I'm going to still record my podcast because what are we on? Like episode something like 48 or 40. Yeah, we're on episode freaking 48. I think that means I've been recording podcasts for 11, possibly 12 months, which is a time to celebrate because it's super easy to give up. Do you know how easy it is to give up? That's like such a loaded question. Who do you give up on the most? Is it yourself? Oh, yes, we do this often. And I notice within myself too, and I see it a lot in other people, is that when things get hard or challenging or blocks come up, what do? We just give up. We're like, no thanks. And I'm such learning. I'm so learning. Still, I'm reading this Ed Milet's book. You've heard me talk about it. The Power of One More. That we just have to keep going. And when we fail, it doesn't mean that we're a failure because all of our failures bring us to this moment and this day, and they make us stronger. And the pain that we experienced yesterday, is the strength that we will feel tomorrow. And that's literally this beautiful quote that I have in my bathroom. I have like inspiring. I actually found it on Amazon. It's so cute. It's like made out of rope. And there's vertical boards that are probably like 2 inches deep by about a foot wide. And there's probably like 7 different quotes. And that's one of them is the pain you feel today is the strength you gain tomorrow. So yesterday and all that pain and the day before and all that yucky momminess. And then even that trip with those girls that I was like, oh, I would just love to be their mom and like help them. But it's like the universe is right now saying, no, you can only love these girls this way. And so I'm open to that. And then I see my kids and I'm like, you don't even know how good you have it. You have like such a strong home and an amazing mom and an amazing dad. And we have like money to buy you whatever you want. Like my kids are never suffering for anything. They are very spoiled. They are. And I'm grateful that I can give that to them because I didn't have that when I was a kid. Everything was like hand-me-downs or thrift stores or garage sales or church donation bin things. And I'm grateful. And again, all of that has brought me here today. And rolling back to when you are inspired, it's so important to actually act on the inspiration because you can just have a great day and just be like, I'm having such a great day. But it's like, what are you going to do with it? Like, what are you going to do with that inspired? There's a thing called inspired action too that Ed Milet is teaching me in this book I'm reading. I'll just kind of fill you in. And it's like being a really good time manager, which is something that we as humans, I feel like, are so limited. We are time limiters. We're like, oh my gosh, there's not enough time. There's not enough time. Well, time is what we make it. I actually have a whole chapter in my book too about time and utilizing our time and being a wealthy time thinker. And I have noticed in myself that when I am inspired, I get done like 4 times as much than I do when I'm not. Like yesterday, I was trying to work on my website at the end of the day, and I was just like depleted and cranky and gross energy and feeling bad, and everything was just like, but I still showed up, even when I was feeling that like upside down, cranky, zigzag face, that I still did try to show up. But today it's like I am inspired and I'm doing the things. And so I am showing up here on my podcast. I made classes, and oh, you just wait, my soul sisters, because my Awaken You course is going to be so awesome. I'm like so excited about it. Everything I like sat and I wrote down my kind of itinerary, the itinerary for the class and all of the important pieces. And so what I did is I pulled these practices that I actually created when I wrote my book, Awaken You. But when I had all of these practices in the end of my book, it added 150 pages. And my book went it was like almost 500 pages. It was so long. I picked, I think, a 5 by 8. I picked a smaller book size, and with the amount of pages, it was like, this is way too thick. So I made my book a little bit bigger, and then I X-nayed the practices. And I always knew that I made these practices for a reason. I knew it, but I didn't know why or when. And that was like a year and a half ago. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I had all of these things already set in place, so I can now recreate. And I am recreating some of them. And I'm just tuning into what is the most important. And part of my Awaken You course, here, I want to read you some of it because I feel like you will like it. So some of the offerings, these are all the courses. I'll just read them to you because I'm really stoked about it. Okay, let me read this to you. I wrote all of this. Okay, so the course is called Awaken You. And how do you know if awakening is for you? And then I wrote this little thing, and it says, if you would like to start or continue your healing journey, cope with frustration, overwhelm, or feelings of being stuck, learn how to love yourself, listen to your intuition, learn how to protect your energy, be authentic in who you are, own yourself, feel grounded, speak your truth, embrace yourself, flaws and all. Then, Shelly's Guide to Awaken You video courses is exactly what you've been looking for. Here's what you will get in this inspired course made just for you. Oh, computers are my friends. Whenever things are not going your way, you have to speak to them nicely. Louise Hay taught me that. Be friends with the friends. Okay, another segment. What you can expect is guided yoga, sound healing, and meditation classes listed below. Here are your 21 practices to awaken you! ! You can practice at your own pace and have unlimited access to these classes, as well as a free PDF of 21 practices to awaken you. And these are going to be the courses. So there's going to be 21 different courses, and I'm going to offer 3 of them for free that you can watch. I think I'm going to offer 3 of them. And then if you want to continue your awakening to awaken you, then, so here we go. I'm just going to kind of list, they're all on bullet points. So these are the courses. Yoga for self-healing, breath for self-healing, purifying, detox, and balancing breath, self-healing, mantra and sound healing, morning and evening practice, braving within meditation and breath practice, self-love and kindness, restorative yoga, self-love and kindness, sound healing and meditation, get rooted, hatha yoga, get rooted meditation, creativity, vinyasa, and journaling with heart, forgiveness, restorative yoga, forgiveness, meditation, and sound healing, self-compassion, vinyasa yoga. Are you following me? It's kind of a lot of things, but it's really exciting. Here, we keep going. Self-compassion, meditation, and drumming. There's going to be a gratitude yoga practice, and then a separate gratitude journaling, affirmations, and mantra, a healing light meditation. Oh, this one's going to be lovely. It's going to be a surrender, restorative yoga, and 20-minute shavasana with sound healing, my loves. Okay, I think we're almost wrapping up. Okay, we have a few more classes. There's going to be a create new thoughts, meditation, and journaling, relax and let go, shavasana, meditation, visualization, feel into joy, yoga, and meditation, and then an awaken you meditation. Doesn't that sound so exciting? And it's so interesting because I already feel like all of those classes are already created. And so, when inspired, my loves, do as the inspired do, which means you have to take the action. So I wrote all of these things down, and it would be really easy, like I have in the past month, to just leave them on my computer and to not record the classes. But when inspired, do as the inspired do. And when you're not feeling inspired, because there are those days, I resource books, podcasts like this. I take a yoga class. I meditate. I journal. I read a freaking self-help or a spiritual book. It's so important to help elevate our energy with new thoughts. And if you haven't checked out already on Awaken You Yoga and Healing Center on YouTube, which I changed the name. I told you about that last time. It used to be just Awaken You Healing Center, but I added the yoga because I just wanted to plug that piece in. Awaken You Yoga and Healing Center. I uploaded last week a really amazing, positive, powerful morning affirmations. And that one is it's under 15 minutes. I think it's like 13 minutes. And it's beautiful. And it took me like 6 hours to make. And it's amazing. And I actually turned that on while I was practicing yoga, and I could like hear it and feel it and sometimes look at the screen if I needed to. And then I also have a gratitude morning affirmations too that you can intermingle, because we've got to help ourselves, my friends. And that's what I'm here in this show, this space, this even writing my book and all of the things that I'm doing right now is my intention is to help you know that you can help yourself, that you are capable of healing yourself, that self-help is something that we don't have to like scoff away or think of, oh, that's ridiculous. I used to think that I don't need to help myself. I'm already amazing. But the odds are that most of us are struggling. And the reason I got into this field and doing the practice of yoga is to be on this inward journey. And now that I have Devin's a man's name or a woman's name, dove so deeply into myself, I just can't even control or help that I want to help others, right? I just do. And when we help ourselves, it is inevitable that we will help others, even if it's sharing your story or holding space for another mama or just listening to people. How often do you listen to people? I know often we get so stuck up in like projecting our voice, but really, my soul sisters, it's like that listening piece, because that's what makes people feel that seen, heard, and understood, is when we can just be there for them. And not that you have to be in the self-help, spiritual, yoga field, meditation, or anything as that. You can be who you are and do what you do, and you could just be who you're meant to be. And it's those feelings. It's like, I remember I used to think I never had purpose, but these feelings that I get when I'm creating my classes or I'm podcasting or writing, they're feelings that lift me up. They enliven me. I feel great. Versus when I was at the tail end of my beauty career and I was doing hair, I would just feel drained and yucky after I did hair. And even during hair, I loved it in the beginning of my career. I did hair for 14 years, but the end, I was just drained and I thought, this is not for me. And then it was, of course, just so intuitive and so divinely guided that I took a yoga teacher training, and then I took a Reiki training, and it was like, wow, this stuff just like clicks and it just feels good. And so really, my friends, pay attention when you feel good. Pay attention who you feel good around. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to if you're getting headaches when you're always around people. That's a hard one. You got to like really, really be open to setting those healthy boundaries. We've talked a lot about this. We have a whole podcast about creating healthy boundaries, that you can be in charge of those. Oh, my lovelies. Deeply exhale, deeply inhale. And know that every day is a new journey, and we have to show up fully and completely as we are, as our authentic self. And this was so beautiful. I was thinking of my daughter and her journey, and how she struggles with school, and she's like having this like attitude where she doesn't want to do school, and I have to like push her. And then at the end of the night, she's kind of like sitting there, and she has a YouTube channel. It was called Junie's Cupcakery and More for Girls. And then she changed the name of it, and now it's called, we were in the car, and Junie's like, I really just want to change the name of my YouTube channel. And so we were thinking of all these things, and she has her puppy Luna, and I was like, it has to be something with Luna, like Luna something. And somehow we got to Luna Girl, and it's called Luna Girl, and it's so cute. Luna's her dog, Girl, because it's about girls. And she was so cute. She went in the bathroom after we got home picking. No, we didn't pick the boys up because they didn't have school. Maybe that was the day before. The days are melding together. But she was like, I'm so excited. And she made this trailer that she was so excited about. And it was like asking the description of her channel. And it was like something along the lines of, we are here, like, need some help. We're here to help you learn and grow and be your authentic self. And I was like, oh, like she just is. Like, she is her authentic self. And if you ever have to question, like, what does it mean to be your authentic self? Like, maybe just get quiet for a few minutes. Like, put your hand on your heart, breathe deeply into your heart, and ask that question. Like, who is my authentic self? What is my authentic self? For me, when I get quiet enough to ask that, it's just now, it's this moment, it's this breath. It's allowing myself to just wake up, open my eyes, and be this woman that I was put on this planet to be. And even when things aren't going the way that I want, it's to just continue to show up authentically as me without putting on that mask, because I wore that mask for so many years. A lot of years, it was like the makeup mask. I wore so much makeup. And I remember it started really young. I remember it was like, there's something wrong with me because I have white eyelashes. No one wants to look at me. I have so many freckles. At one point, when I did hair, I had a client who was like a plastic surgeon. And I was telling him how much I didn't like my freckles. And he was like, well, you know, there's a procedure that you can remove your freckles. And I like thought about it and I was like, ew, gross. No, I want to be this authentic Shelly. Like, this is who I meant to be, me. And I have recreated, and I will continue until the end of my days to recreate myself to the authentic version of me, of my soul expression. And this beautiful spiritual mentor and light, Rebecca Campbell, who's written a lot of amazing books, Letters to a Starseed. I'm actually reading her book. I think it was either 2014 or 16. It's called Rise, Sister Rise. Ugh, she's amazing. But in her book, Letters to a Starseed, she talks about weaving our soul self and like our ego humanly self together. And that is the authentic expression of who you are, the authentic expression of the soul and the light, the divine nature that you were given to express in this life. And that, my beautiful soul sisters, is your authentic self. And so I'm thinking of each podcast, as you know, or if you're new here, we have a self-care practice because self-care is essential to awaken you. And I really encourage you because I really wanted to invite that inspired action, or perhaps that uninspired action. Sometimes uninspired action, right, is reading those books, listening to podcasts, maybe getting an oracle deck or a tarot deck and doing a card reading, taking a yoga class, sitting on a meditation cushion, or laying in your bed at night with your hand on your heart and just saying, I am grateful, I am grateful, I am grateful. All of this is towards loving yourself. Self-love is synonymous with being your authentic self. So really just answering those callings, or even taking a bath. I know something, I love taking baths, but do I really take baths as much as I would want? No, because it takes like forever to fill up the tub, and I don't want my kids coming in and bothering me. But when I do take the baths, it's like, yes, queen, this is exactly what I need. So I just, I inspire you, I encourage you to, when you are inspired, to take action. And even if it's something small, like I think of, I'm doing so many little things, but I get detoured and then I keep going, but I keep going. And that's the thing, is keep going. And I'm writing my book. I'm writing my book, The Empath Alchemist. And it is powerful and amazing. And it's so inspired. It is going to be good. It is good. And it's already published. I'm like putting the vibes out for Hay House. Hay House, Hay House. You have to put those vibes out. First, we must see it in our eye of our mind and visualize these things coming to fruition. See it, see the contract, see whatever it is. Or if you want to buy a new house, or if you want a new hairdo. That's funny. I think of that. Hair, I learned being in the hair industry for so long, hair is one of those things that we actually can control in our lives. So If controlling your hair in a way is how you cope, oh girl, then you control your hair. I chopped my hair off like maybe 2 inches below my ears when COVID was happening. Junie cut her hair into a pixie because when the world was out of control, I was like, I'm going to chop off my hair because I can control this. And now my hair is long. It's like almost to my nipples, craziness. And I love it long now. And that's me controlling my hair. And it feels good. And my hair is naturally actually blonde. And I have some sparkly silver sprinkles. But I color my hair this really beautiful, natural red because I love it and it feels good. And I was a redhead baby. And Milo's a redhead. My kids are partially, Jack's like the strawberry blonde. And that's what I like. And that feels good for me right now. So if it's controlling your hair the way that you want to, you do that, girlfriend. You do you. And finding out the things that make us feel good and nurturing and treating ourselves. And I know it's not always in the card to maybe get our hair done, or for me, like a thing I nurture myself is getting my house cleaned. Oh my gosh. Ooh, I feel so taken care of and so loved when I get my house cleaned. Like that is, I can feel one of my love languages because it feels like it does. It frees up space for me to create and do other things. And then I also feel good about helping the cleaners and helping them with their families and knowing that they have kids and that I'm helping support their families. It's like this whole circle. So many things. Can you do that with me? Just breathe your breath in, pause. Bring your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale it away. Can you do that 4 more conscious times? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. And here, perhaps put a hand on your heart and just tap into your soul self, your authentic you. And with so much love and light, I encourage you to go forth today with this grateful heart and be you, be the fullest expression of who you were put on this planet to be, because you are amazing and you are deserving and you are worthy of all that your heart desires. You're worthy of all of the good and all of the abundance and prosperity circulating around. I love you so much. You can bring your palms kissing palms, a beautiful heart. Namaste. Isn't it so interesting how something as small as breathing and touching your heart can just really bring you back down and ground you into this moment, my loves? So with that said, be you. You go. As Louise Hay said, go forth. Today is going to be an amazing day. Today is going to be a day you've never had before. Today is a new day. One you've never had before. Thank you, Louise. We love you. And you live this day, this afternoon, this evening, this moment that your eyes are open. You see it as you've never seen it before, because this is a new opportunity to really step into that inspired action of being who you were meant to be, who you were put on this planet to be, your authentic, vulnerable, raw, and unedited version of you, fully expressive in all of the things, feelings, and emotions. I love you. Like I have told you before, you can head over to Awaken You Yoga and Healing Center on YouTube. I'm just really excited and so grateful for that space. I've been actually plugging in shorts, which are really fun, and I'm growing. So really help grow me and grow yourself. If you want to share this episode with someone, with one woman, share it like a spider web, send it out into the universe. Please leave me a 5-star rating and a review on iTunes. It means the universe to me. Check me out on Facebook, Shelly Bond, or not YouTube? Nope. Instagram, Awaken You Shelly Bond. You can also email me and share what's on your heart. If you want me to share your story and you might be afraid to share it, you go ahead. You can send it through a voice message on Gmail. You could send like a voice recorder on your phone, or you can send me an email at awakenyoushellybond@gmail.com. And just you watch out, because I am making this website that's like scary but amazing, and I'm just doing it, and things take time. I love you. I'm so grateful for you, my beautiful friends, and I will be back here hanging out with you next week. Goodbye.